We have to discuss about classification of research, and we have two broad classification of research: basic research and applied research. And basic research is also known as fundamental research or pure research, and this establishes new knowledge of facts. And this research is basically done in universities, okay, to establish new ideas and to develop new conceptual framework, new theories. Okay, so this research is not immediately applicable to real world situations. You see, whenever you see a thesis, uh, that is for academicians. No? You cannot directly apply the findings of thesis in real world situations. Okay, but what we do in basic research, we try to discover a new theory or refine existing theory. So we are not basically concerned with the practical application in basic research. And the example for this basic research are um, how did universe begin? Okay, so there will not be a direct practical application for this. We just think about different ideas, different theories, and why people save. Okay, saving behavior we can discuss. Do you have any answer for this? Why people save? Do you have any answer? Why do we save? Yes. Any answer? सेविंग क्यों करते हैं हम? We save to secure our future consumption. We have current consumption, so we save to maintain that level of consumption if there is some problem with our income. So we want to secure our future consumption. That's why in future if your income decreases, then you will save. Okay, mute your mic. Okay. And then how to achieve economic development? Again, there could be basic research uh, to see how to achieve the economic development, how to improve the standard of living. So there are many research on it. Okay. Then we have applied research. Okay. And this attempts to solve a particular problem or address a specific questions. And this is basically done uh, for the industries and for the government and for institutions to solve their problems. Okay. For example, for the government, if they are in trouble for their external debt, then we can design debt reduction strategy by conducting applied research. And also, government face a problem of overpopulation. Then again, applied research can be done to make some policy recommendations how to control the overpopulation problem. Environmentalists, they face environmental pollution problem. And again, applied research can be done to overcome the environmental pollution problem. In agriculture sector, we see that they want to improve their productivity. They want to produce more agriculture output, okay, with the same piece of land. Okay. Then again, there are research, okay, that suggest how to improve the productivity of land. Okay, we see that they suggest different ways how to use fertilizer, how to use pesticide, how to use water to increase the productivity of land. And then in the financial sector, we did many financial sector reforms. Okay, and then we want to improve the efficiency of financial sector. Okay? We want to uh, achieve more financial deepening. Okay? So there is a vast scope of, you know, applied research in business, economics, and other social sciences. So even in medicine also we do applied research. And we have, you know, two approaches: inductive approach and deductive approach. So inductive approach, we basically, you know, generate a new theory. Okay. So research is basically done to either generate a new theory or to test a theory, existing theory. So if we are generating a new theory, it would be inductive approach or inductive reasoning or inductive research. And if we are testing an existing theory, okay, that would be a deductive. Okay. So in deductive approach, our goal is to test the theory or verify the theory, or we can refine the theory. Okay. So mostly, you know, we are conducting deductive research. So our research approach is deductive because it is not easy to generate theory, inductive research. So what we do, we know about a theory. So we just get the data and then we finally uh, test the theory, and on the basis of our result, uh, either we validate the theory or we invalidate the theory. For example, there is a theory: consumption is a function of disposable income, and consumption is a positive function of disposable income. So this means when your income increases, your consumption expenditure will also increase. Now we can test this theory. We can get the data on consumption, we can get the data on income, and then we will test. So if there is a positive relationship, for example, we did some correlation analysis and we found that there is a positive relationship. Then we did a regression analysis. Again, we saw that the coefficient which is attached to income variable is positive and statistically significant. So then, you know, this means our results validate consumption hypothesis or consumption theory. So what you are doing also in your case study project, this would be a deductive approach. So you decided a topic and then you will get the data and then you will try to validate theory, or you will say uh, theory is not valid. Okay, so finally you will come up with some conclusion. So in the inductive approach, there is bottom up approach. No? First we will get observation, we will make a design, we will discuss about methodology and data and everything, then we will make our hypothesis and then we will finally come up with a theory. So this is bottom up approach. And deductive is the top down approach. In deductive, you know, research approach, we first select a theory and then we will make hypothesis and then we get the observations and then finally we decide about the validation of the theory, whether it's valid or invalid. So this is the deductive approach. We start from a theory, but in inductive approach we start from observation and then come up with theory. So this is difficult to create a new theory. But this is easy, that we have a theory, we get the data, and we just test the theory. Then we have another classification. We have quantitative research and qualitative research. Okay, so quantitative research is a systematic investigation of some phenomena using quantifiable data and performing analysis with statistical and mathematical techniques. The research that you will do for your case study project, it would be a quantitative research. So you will get quantifiable data, do some analysis, you will do some statistical test, and then you will come up with some conclusion and policy implications. Okay. So most of the research that are done in business or economics, in other fields, they are quantitative, no? And social sciences and some other social science subject, they are qualitative, no? So basically in economics, management, and finance, so we do quantitative research. So quantitative research is often used to test the theory. For example, supply theory says that other things remaining same, as price increases, quantity supply increases. So now we will get the data on price and quantity supply, and we can verify this theory quantitatively, no? By getting the data. So this type of research is harder to design initially, but can easily be presented through descriptive statistical measures. Correlation we can use regression analysis, and we can use descriptive statistics, measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, and measures of shape, measures of locations, all these we can use. And following are the characteristics of quantitative research. The outcome of research are easy to understand and explain. Okay, you see when we see the results of quantitative research, so it is easy to understand. Also, it is easy to explain, and the outcomes of research can easily be replicated. So, if I did a quantitative research, in the research I mentioned the sources of data, someone else can get the data from the same source and then replicate the result. Okay, so replication is easy in case of quantitative research. And then outcomes can be generalized for the entire population. So if we have done our quantitative research on the basis of some sample, then it can be generalized for the entire population. But the results are, you know, mm, more reliable in case of quantitative research, and it is also easy to conclude, to come up with some conclusion, and there will be agreement of all on that conclusion, because if I say this is the mean average, so if you calculate, you will get the same average. Okay, so we can come up with the same conclusion. Okay, if we are using some data. So in case of quantitative research, uh, we can come up with the same conclusion and we can replicate the results. Then we have qualitative research. So this is a bit difficult, and this seeks to develop understanding through a detailed description. Okay, and this type of research, involves examining values and attitude, perceptions. We basically conduct the interview and we get some ideas and we just read some papers, theoretical papers, and then we come up with some finding. And it is difficult, to replicate the finding because we don't have some quantitative data. So this gives importance to concept and definitions and meanings. And this type of research gives less importance to figure and numbers. And this type of research, qualitative research, is concerned with how and why something happened. So it does not answer what and how much happened. So we cannot quantify. We can just say how and why. And it is flexible, generally used in scenario where flexible nature of research is acceptable. Okay. So we can move in different directions in case of qualitative research. But in case of quantitative research, we are very specific. No? We have data on those variable. We can only use those variable, and then we will get result of those variables. But here, because this is journal, discussion, interviews, and many ideas are coming. So it is flexible. So basically, it enables us to establish an understanding of the problem and to find out the detail of the problem. So we do qualitative research to get the understanding of a problem, but to get some concrete conclusion, we do quantitative research. Then there is a difference between research method and research methodology. Okay, research methodology is a way to solve the research problem systematically. Okay, so we will define all steps to solve a particular problem in case of research methodology. But research method refer to all those techniques that are used to conduct the research study. So in research methods, we basically, concern with the techniques. But in research methodology, we are basically concerned with the way in which a particular research problem is solved. Then we have different types of research studies. We have exploratory study, and exploratory study is a preliminary investigation of an unfamiliar problem or behavior or phenomenon that aims to gain new insight. Okay, so we want to explore something. We don't know much about that problem. We don't know about that behavior, and then we conduct exploratory study to explore about that problem. So this type of research, may include inquiry of publicly reported figures such as inflation, unemployment, gross domestic product. Now we have suppose inflation rate. If government says inflation rate is 8%, now we can conduct exploratory study. And then we will see uh, how they estimated inflation. Okay, we saw that they use consumer price index, because if you take the growth rate of consumer price index, you will get inflation rate. Then we will try to explore what is the composition of consumer price index, because consumer price index is the cost of a fixed basket of commodities that are purchased by a middle class urban consumer. Then we will try to explore that basket. What are the commodities that are in the basket? That is very important. No? So maybe the composition of basket is such that you are underestimating the inflation rate in the economy. So we can explore, whether the basket is more realistic or not. Okay. So then we can see which type of commodities are included in the basket, and then we can, with that research, we can come up with some conclusion that basket is biased or basket is unbiased. We will make some suggestions that there should be some, you know, changes in the basket. There should be inclusion of some commodities that are not included, or we have to, exclude some commodities that are included in the basket, like that. Same research could be done for unemployment. Okay, we see that there is a reporting of unemployment figures, but we don't trust on the unemployment figures reported by government. So again, there could be some exploratory study to explore why the official unemployment figures are low and actually the unemployment seems to be very high. So we can explore this issue. Then we have following characteristics of exploratory research. It is unstructured, okay, it's low cost, interactive, and open-ended, okay, and enable the researcher to know about the problem. There are no set rules to carry out this research, but because it's broad, flexible, and scattered. Because we are trying to explore, no? So we cannot make it a structured research. So we can move in different directions to understand the problem. And it helps lay down the foundation of research, which may lead to further study. So on the basis of exploratory, study, we can do some further studies. Then we have descriptive study. So descriptive study is an in-depth study of an individual, a situation, a group, organizations. So in descriptive study, we basically describe someone, some person, some situation, some group, some organization. We can do descriptive study for individual, and there are, research on Qaeda-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. There are research on, different personalities. Okay, so it means you will do some in-depth study of that individual, and then you will describe different, aspects of that personality. And then you will also sometime conduct descriptive study for a situation. We can conduct for a group. We can conduct descriptive study for a political group, for a religious group, for ethnic group. We can conduct study. Also, it can be conducted for some organization. Okay, you can pick up some industrial organization, and you can conduct your descriptive study to describe the features. So it includes survey and fact-finding inquiries, which are widely used in social science and business problems. So examples of descriptive research include role of institution in the spread of awareness about their rights, or evolution of new techniques in educational and medical sciences, developing a profile of saver. We can also do descriptive study about, online teaching. So we can describe how different institutions are using the online teaching, what type of software they are using, how they are conducting their exams, okay, and what are the problems that are faced by the teachers, what are the problems that are faced by the students. So we can just describe. So these are the characteristics of descriptive study. So it can be used for developing the hypothesis, and it focuses more on what of the research subject rather than why of the research. So we just describe, what is this, what is this, what. We don't go for why. Sample size is generally large in this type of studies. So research, this type of research study does not focus on why or how. Therefore, it is difficult to learn specific causes. So we are just describing. Then we have explanatory study. Okay. In explanatory study is also known as causal study. So here we indicate the causal relationship. So most of the research studies in economics, they are explanatory study. No? So we try to explain. So in this type of study, we discuss about the causal relationship, in which we have a dependent variable which is influenced by some other factors or variable which are called independent variables. And independent variables are the variables that affect the dependent variable. So sometimes we have one independent variable and one dependent variable, but in most of the cases we have more than one independent variable. Okay, and we want to see the relationship of those independent variables with the dependent variable. So the research study that you will conduct for this course, it will be explanatory study. And that's why we were discussing yesterday. You have to think about a research study where you can establish some causal relationship. Okay, that's why I was saying that you have to think about any two macroeconomic variables and then try to find out the relationship between these two variables and then include some other variables. Okay, this is the example. Saving could be a dependent variable which is affected by many factors such as income, wealth, interest rate, which are independent variables. So you can make a saving function. Saving is a function of income, wealth, and interest rate. Okay. Basically, saving, there is a relationship between saving and income. So income is a core variable. Then we have additional variable, interest rate and wealth. So what would be the direction of causality? When income increases, saving will also increase. So this means we are expecting a unidirectional causality from income to saving. Because if your income is affecting your saving, but your saving affect your wealth. You are saving more than your wealth. And then also if your wealth increases, then you are saving. So here we are expecting bidirectional causality. Interest rate, what do you think about interest rate and saving? It would be a unidirectional or bidirectional? Yes, any answer? Interest rate and saving. What do you expect about the relationship in saving and interest rate and the direction of causality? No idea?
सर इंटरेस्ट रेट हमारे फायदे में नहीं होगा, वो अगली पार्टी के फायदे में होगा, और जो
नहीं, मैं
सेविंग
तो
है
कह
वो
रहा हूँ कि
हमारे
इंटरेस्ट रेट का इफेक्ट सेविंग पे क्या होगा? इंटरेस्ट रेट अगर इंक्रीज होगी तो सेविंग डिक्रीज हो जाएगी, डिपॉजिट रेट बढ़ जाएगा तो सेविंग बढ़ाएगी या कम हो जाएगी?
सर नेगेटिव
नेगेटिव रिलेशनशिप
रिलेशन होगा।
नेगेटिव
यस सर,
रिलेशनशिप है।
यस सर, क्योंकि अगर हम सेविंग इंक्रीज करेंगे तो इन्वेस्टमेंट हमारी डिक्रीज हो जाएगी।
इन्वेस्टमेंट तो यहाँ है ही नहीं, हम तो इंटरेस्ट रेट और सेविंग की बात कर रहे हैं।
नहीं, इस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बता रही
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि सेविंग और इंटरेस्ट रेट में किस किस्म का रिलेशनशिप आप देखिए ना, डिपॉजिट रेट है ना, डिपॉजिट रेट एक इंटरेस्ट रेट है ना, इंटरेस्ट रेट ऑन डिपॉजिट है। अगर डिपॉजिट रेट बढ़ जाएगा तो आप सेविंग ज़्यादा करेंगे या कम करेंगे?
ज्यादा करेंगे सर।
ज़्यादा करेंगे ना, आपको ज़्यादा
जी
रेट
सर।
रिटर्न मिल रहा है ना। जब आपको ज़्यादा
जी
रिटर्न
सर।
मिल रहा हो तो आप ज़्यादा सेव करेंगे। कम रिटर्न मिल रहा हो,
जी सर।
इसका मतलब है जो डायरेक्शन ऑफ कॉजलिटी है वो इंटरेस्ट रेट से सेविंग की तरफ है ना,
जी।
यूनिक डायरेक्शन कॉजलिटी।
राइट।
जी जी
सेविंग
सर, ठीक है।
से इंटरेस्ट रेट की तरफ नहीं है, इंटरेस्ट रेट से सेविंग। ठीक है, इसी तरह वेल्थ, आप सेविंग ज़्यादा करेंगे तो आपकी वेल्थ बढ़ जाएगी ना।
यस सर।
और अब जब आपकी इसी तरह इनकम जब आपकी ज़्यादा होगी तो फिर आपकी सेविंग भी ज़्यादा होगी।
यस सर।
और इसकी वेल्थ ज़्यादा होगी तो इसका मतलब है आपका वेल्थ एक्यूमुलेट हो गया, आप उसको फिर जो है ना ऐसी जगह पे है ना इन्वेस्ट करेंगे जहाँ से आपको ज़्यादा रिटर्न मिलेगा और फिर आपकी
फ्यूचर कंजम्पशन
सेविंग भी बढ़ जाएगी।
राइट।
ठीक। So in this type of study you can identify those factors, you know, upon which dependent variable mostly depend. So your study ना, आपकी जो स्टडी हमने कहा कि स्टडी प्रोजेक्ट ऐसा हो जिसमें आप स्टार्ट लें दो वेरिएबल से कि ये दो वेरिएबल हैं, इनके दरमियान हमें रिलेशनशिप देखना है, फिर उनमें से एक जो है वो डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल होगा, दूसरा इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल होगा। अब उसके बाद जब आप लिटरेचर देखेंगे तो आपको और एडिशनल इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल आइडेंटिफाई हो जाएंगे। लेकिन स्टार्ट तो आप दो से लेंगे ना। हमने सपोज स्टार्ट लिया सेविंग और इनकम से, फिर हमने रिसर्च की, हमने लिटरेचर देखा, फिर हमने देखा कि सेविंग जो है सिर्फ इनकम पे डिपेंड नहीं करता, वेल्थ पे भी डिपेंड करता है। एक और एडिशनल वेरिएबल मिल गया। फिर आपने लिटरेचर रिव्यू और किया तो पता चला कि सेविंग जो है इनकम और वेल्थ के अलावा इंटरेस्ट रेट पे भी डिपेंड करता है। ठीक है, तो ये सारे ये आइडेंटिफाई हो रहे हैं ना एडिशनल वेरिएबल। तो आपका भी स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट ये है कि सिर्फ दो वेरिएबल जिसमें आप रिलेशनशिप देखना चाहते हैं वो आप इस स्टेज पे आइडेंटिफाई करें। इसके बाद आप लिटरेचर देखेंगे और फिर एडिशनल जो इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल हैं वो आइडेंटिफाई होते जाएंगे। यू गॉट माय पॉइंट?
यस सर।
या कल से मैं ये करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि आपको किस तरह, मुझे कल भी जो ना किसी ने अपना टॉपिक भेजा, आप जो है क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च करेंगे। ठीक है, आपकी क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च नहीं होगी, आपकी रिसर्च जो है वो एक्सप्लेनेटरी होगी। ठीक है, तो हम आपसे क्वांटिटेटिव, पहली तो बात ये क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च कराना चाहते हैं, क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च इस 2 महीने में नहीं होगी। जिस तरह के टॉपिक कल मुझे आप दे रहे थे ना, वो क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च के टॉपिक हैं और वो 2 मंथ में नहीं होंगे। तो अब आपके ये क्लियर हो जाएगा कि आपकी रिसर्च जो है वो क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च होगी। सेकंड जो है क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च में भी आप एक्सप्लेनेटरी स्टडी होगी आपकी। जो केस स्टडी प्रोजेक्ट है वो एक्सप्लेनेटरी स्टडी होगी जिसमें आपको एक डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल और एक इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल इस स्टेज पे आइडेंटिफाई करना है और उसका एक टाइटल बना लेना है। इसके बाद आप फर्दर जो है आप लिटरेचर को देखेंगे तो एडिशनल इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल अपने मॉडल में इंक्लूड करेंगे और वो स्टडी कंडक्ट करेंगे। और डेटा जो है वो अवेलेबल है डेटा फाइल। तो आपका टाइम जो
ओके
है
सर।
आपका टाइम जो है फोकस स्टडी पे होगा, आपका टाइम जो है वो डेटा पे खर्च नहीं होगा कि आप जो है वो 1 महीना डेटा को तलाश कर रहे हैं। तो डेटा तो आपको तलाश करना ही नहीं है, डेटा तो ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है। आपको सिर्फ एक स्टडी जो है जिसके वेरिएबल्स और मॉडल और एनालिसिस, कंक्लूजन और इम्प्लीकेशन, रिकमेंडेशन, इस पे फोकस करना। And these are the characteristics of explanatory study usually offer the advantage of replication। तो आपने जो स्टडी की होगी में वो डेटा आपने यूज़ किया है, वो डेटा मेरे पास भी है, तो इसका मतलब है वो रेप्लिकेट हो सकता है ना। तो हमने वही डेटा लेके हम उसको रन करेंगे, जो आपका रिग्रेशन रिजल्ट है वो मेरा रिग्रेशन रिजल्ट सेम होना चाहिए ना, क्योंकि डेटा सोर्स एक ही है। इसी तरह हम कॉजलिटी कैन बी इन्फर्ड, तो हम कॉजलिटी के बारे में ये बता सकते हैं ना कि ये डायरेक्शन है कि यूजिंग it could be challenging to reach a concrete conclusion. In some cases it is difficult to identify the cause and effect. तो some cases में ये difficult होता है ना कि कौन सा वेरिएबल जो है वो cause है, कौन सा वेरिएबल जो है वो effect है, even if there is high correlation. Then longitudinal study, उसमें ये होता है कि we study a particular phenomena over time ना, तो वी यूज़ डेली, वीकली, मंथली और ईयरली। तो आपकी स्टडी जो है वो एक्सप्लेनेटरी स्टडी भी होगी और लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल स्टडी भी होगी, क्योंकि यू विल यूज़ टाइम सीरीज डेटा। आप टाइम सीरीज डेटा फाइल को यूज़ करेंगे और वहाँ पे जो डेटा है दैट इज़ ईयरली डेटा है, एनुअल डेटा है ना। सो इन सच ए स्टडी द फंडामेंटल क्वेश्चन इज टू डिटरमिन द इफेक्ट दैट टाइम हैज़ ऑन सिचुएशन अंडर ऑब्जर्वेशन, और उसकी जो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं। सो if the data is collected personally it requires an enormous amount of time. या आप अगर खुद कलेक्ट करेंगे तो अगर आप 10 साल का डेटा है, अगर आप ये मंथली भी है तो यू नो टू मच टाइम, टू मच एफर्ट एंड इट विल बी वेरी कॉस्टली। लेकिन अगर ये ऑलरेडी पब्लिश है देन इट्स वेरी इजी। सो इन योर केस डेटा जो है ना ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल ना इन पब्लिश फॉर्म। So this type of study, allows the researcher to look at changes over time and is useful when studying development and lifespan issues. तो हम over time जो है ना आप देखेंगे किस तरह, suppose अगर if you draw a graph, then you will see अगर if I draw a graph for saving of Pakistan, domestic saving in Pakistan, so you can see whether there is a rising trend or there is declining trend or there is fluctuating trend, you can see अगर आपके पास लॉन्ग टाइम सीरीज डेटा अवेलेबल हो, सो यू कैन डू सम ट्रेंड एनालिसिस। मिसिंग डेटा इज द मेन प्रॉब्लम। हमारे पास जो है टाइम सीरीज स्टडीज हैं हुई, जिस लास्ट टाइम वो कह रहे थे कि हम जो है वो पॉवर्टी पे करेंगे। पॉवर्टी का अगर आपने कोई डेटा ले लिया या ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स ले लिया तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम ये है कि वो उसमें मिसिंग डेटा है ना। आफ्टर एवरी 5 ईयर या 6 ईयर हम वो डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं, फिर बीच में जो मिसिंग डेटा है फिर उसको हम इंटरपोलेशन वगैरह करते हैं, तो उससे रिजल्ट्स में जो है ना ट्रबल होती है। दैट इज़ द मेन इशू। देन वी हैव क्रॉस सेक्शनल स्टडी। सो क्रॉस सेक्शनल स्टडी इज द इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर फिनोमेना एट ए स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट इन टाइम, किसी खास पॉइंट पे ना, तो वी स्टडी। अब मैंने क्रॉस सेक्शन स्टडी मुझे करनी है कि इस वक्त जो है वो कराची के एरिया में जो हाउसिंग यूनिट है उनकी प्राइस क्या चीज़ डिटरमिन करती है, व्हाट आर दी फैक्टर्स दैट इफेक्ट द प्राइस ऑफ हाउसिंग यूनिट। तो उसके लिए क्या होगा कि आई हैव टू डिफाइन ना कि प्राइस जो है वो किन चीज़ों पे डिपेंड करती है किसी हाउसिंग यूनिट की। सबसे पहले तो उसकी लैंड है ना, कि लैंड साइज कितना है, और फिर ये भी तो है कि वो लैंड किस एरिया में है, दैट आल्सो मैटर्स। कि वो सेंटर ऑफ द सिटी है या सब एरियाज में, तो प्राइस जो है उससे वेरी, आपने देखा होगा कि लैंड प्राइस जो है वो वेरी करती है किस जगह पे। रोड के इस तरफ प्राइस कुछ और होती है, रोड के दूसरी तरफ प्राइस कुछ और है, ठीक है। फिर जो है उस पर कम्युनिटी पे डिपेंड करती है ना, उस जो हाउसिंग यूनिट की प्राइस है उसकी कम्युनिटी वहाँ पे, फिर वो किस किस साइज़ की जो है वहाँ पे हाउसिंग यूनिट है, साइज़ पे भी डिपेंड करता है ना। जहाँ पे आपने देखा होगा बड़े बड़े साइज़ के हाउसिंग यूनिट हैं तो वहाँ पे उसकी प्राइस है। फिर ये है कि फैसिलिटीज़ वहाँ पे वो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, गैस एंड वाटर और सिक्योरिटी पे भी हाउसिंग यूनिट की प्राइस डिपेंड करती है। एंड देन देयर आर मेनी फैक्टर्स or which, so this there is a possibility of a cross sectional study. Okay, कोई पूछना चाह रहा था कुछ? So this type of study is mostly used in business. Okay, we conduct cross sectional study, and these are the characteristics. It allows researcher to look at numerous characteristics at once, at a time. आप बहुत सारे उसके angles इसको देख सकते हैं ना. Inexpensive and allows research to collect a great deal of information. Normally we do survey, no? So इस किस्म की study में we conduct a survey and we get information within a very short period of time, and data is collected at once, and it is less likely that participant will quit the study. So जो missing data इसमें जो है within questionnaire तो possible है, लेकिन है ना, जिस ये नहीं होता ना एक पार्टिसिपेंट ने क्विट किया तो आप प्रॉब्लम में आ गए, ऐसा नहीं होगा. एक पार्टिसिपेंट क्विट कर रहा है दूसरे पार्टिसिपेंट से आप ना, एक अगर आपको विलिंग नहीं है तो दूसरा आपको मिल जाएगा ना. And can be a basis for further studies. We can use this cross-sectional studies to conduct time series study. We can conduct the panel studies, and we can conduct other studies. Then we have case study. Again, case study is in-depth study of a person, a group, a situation. You can take any institution to do a case study. We can take a bank, for example. एक इस्लामिक बैंक ले लिया, आपने मीज़ान बैंक ले लिया, और आपने जो है ना उसकी एक केस स्टडी की कि उसकी जो ग्रोथ हो रही है उसमें वो कौन कौन से फैक्टर्स कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं कि वो इतना एक ग्रोइंग बैंक है. यू कैन आल्सो make a case study on saving behavior of working women. There could be a case study of corruption by white collar employees. Okay, there could be a case study. So case study can be descriptive, where current practices is described in detail. It can be illustrative, where it illustrates new method adopted by an organization. Explanatory भी हो सकती है ये, where theories are used to understand a particular practice or procedure. So case study जो है ना could be different type, ना, could be descriptive, it could be explanatory. और जो advantage है ना of case study is that it gathers much information about a specific case. एक ही केस के बारे में आप जो है ना in depth study करते हैं, and then you will come up with some conclusion. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम इसके साथ ये है कि you cannot generalize your conclusion. This is the disadvantage of the case study. You will come up with some conclusion for a particular case, but we cannot generalize, and the obtained result have limited use in case of case study. This is about the research process. We will discuss about research process in our next class. Now I will discuss about your case study projects.